Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're currently working in a completely different career and we're thinking of moving into project management but not sure where to start, or if your experience currently counts, then this video is for you. I've had a few questions recently from people asking about transitioning into project management from various fields. So today I want to talk you through how you can realistically move into project management, what skills you'll need, and what I would do if I was to start all over again. For a bit of context, I'm currently working as a project manager, and for so many, I didn't just wake up one day and become a PM. Project management is one of those roles that a lot of people are doing already in their day-to-day jobs without that title. So things like planning, organizing, communicating with different people and difficult people, managing deadlines and solving problems. Those are all project management skills, even if your title doesn't actually say project manager. So if you're coming from healthcare, admin, customer service, operations, or even something more technical like medical coding, you will not be starting from zero. One of the biggest misconceptions about project management is that you need to come from a specific background. But in reality, what matters more is how you work, not where you've worked. And many roles already involve planning, following processes, prioritization, and most importantly, dealing with stakeholders. All of those make core parts of project management. Even roles that feel very technical or isolated still involve deadlines, accuracy, communication, and accountability. When I speak to people who are considering transitioning into project management, I always say this: don't focus so much on the job title that you had, focus more on the responsibilities that you've handled. When people ask about project management skills, they often think it's about complicated tools or certifications. But at the core, project management is very simple. The main skills that you'll need are organization, communication, and problem solving. You need to be able to plan work, track progress, and adjust when things change. You need to communicate clearly with different people, sometimes people who all want different things. And most importantly, you need to stay calm when issues come up, because they always do. Now, when it comes to tools, you don't need to know everything. A basic understanding of Excel, Teams, email communication, and maybe one of the planning tools, so something like Microsoft Project. Top tip, there are so many videos on YouTube that go through how to use Microsoft Project, so it's not something that you have to go and purchase online. Check YouTube, there's lots of videos broken down on how to make a project plan using Microsoft Project, and I would say that they're very valuable. If I can find some, I will link them down below as well. Those tools are more than enough to get you started, but also tools can be learned on the job as well. What really matters is your mindset. I also want to touch on the question about starting online skills in general, because this doesn't just apply to project management. If you're feeling unsure where to begin, the key is to start with skills that improve how you work overall, not just one specific job. So those skills are like communication, organization, digital confidence, and problem solving. These skills transfer to almost any career. And when you're learning online, it's better to focus on one skill at a time, rather than trying to learn different skills all at the same time. You don't need to overwhelm yourself with too many courses. Start small, stay consistent, and build confidence gradually. And you don't have to have everything figured out before you start. Learning as you go is part of the process. So if you're starting online, keep it simple. And for project management, I would recommend doing a fundamental project management. You can start with Prince 2, or you can start with CAPM. And that will help you understand what a project lifecycle looks like, understanding how risks are managed, and how planning works. What's more important is understanding how projects run in real life. And also, you don't need to be perfect before you apply for that job or you transition. You can learn a lot when you're in that role. I'm going to give you a real life example of how someone I knew transitioned from what they were doing before into project management, and how I feel like I supported them in, or giving them the confidence to sort of transition into project management. The role that they were doing before, I think it was in IT, but they had a lot of transferable skills, not just in the current job that they do, but they had a side hustle as well. They were into cakes and baking and selling cakes, and it was a business. So I asked them to use the cake business as a project. List out all the risks. So for example, one of the risks could be that you don't get paid for your cakes, or someone places an order, you make the cake, and all of a sudden they've changed their mind and you've lost all your ingredients, your gas, electricity, everything. So what would you do to mitigate those risks? One of the things could be you can ask for a percentage up front so that if they cancel, you can have a cancellation policy in place. If you're able to articulate all these things into a project management form and verbalize it, practice it, and it doesn't have to be about cakes, it can be anything. It could be planning a party, or it can be organizing an event for your loved ones or your family. Everything that you do on a day-to-day basis are projects, but you just have to speak the project language. So all these skills and all these sort of courses I've mentioned will help you to understand those project management terms and words that you would need, or that would support you when you're going in for those interviews. It's not about the job title. What's mostly important is the skills that you have and you have used in your previous roles that you can 100% transfer. So it's very important when you're speaking to stakeholders, because you will come across very difficult stakeholders, to be calm, but also to know the most effective way to communicate with that stakeholder. The same way I would speak to person A, I probably will not speak to person B, depending on their interest in the project and how they see the project moving forward. So if I was to start again, I would spend less time trying to do everything and focus on the basics. I would stop trying to feel ready and perfect. And I'm going to be very honest with you. Project management is a learn as you go sort of role, and the confidence comes from the experience. And it's not knowing everything in advance. A mentor of mine once said to me, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but when you go into a project like a baby. You don't know anything. You don't have to know everything. But then you get fed information and you absorb the information, and that's where the confidence starts to build, because there's an assumption that a project manager will know everything. Once you move into a project, you're like a baby, and you get given information, and you're fed and you're fed and you're fed, and then you start to grow. Your confidence starts to grow once you start to know the information that's required, what's being delivered. So don't go in there thinking that you should know everything at once, because that's the mistake I made when I first started. And if I was to go again, I would baby steps and know that I don't have to know everything all at once. So if you're thinking about moving into project management and you want to see what the role looks like day to day, I've linked a realistic day in the life video in the description box. And if you have any questions about transitioning or even getting started, and let me know what else you would like me to talk about around project management, about career, about transitioning, let me know down in the comments below and I'll be sure to film that for you. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this to someone that might find this useful. Even if you're not a project manager or you're looking to be a project manager, if you know someone around your circle who is interested, please forward it across to them as well. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next one.